guys are making up time on us. They've really picked this thing apart so much that they're looking at the time from starter to launch up to 37 miles an hour. They say Audi is actually picking up a little bit of time there.
It's interesting to note, once again, we had that very long full course caution, and certainly these teams want to get some information in the book, so not surprising to not see people come to pit road under that first full course caution, but it also shows exactly what we talked about, and that is you lose less time under green flag stops now than you do from behind the pace car pitting under a full course caution.
Yeah, the difference between, well, we saw a little bit of debris get kicked up there by that Ford as it came through Tete Rouge, but the difference coming down pit lane as opposed to staying on the racetrack, forget the servicing of the race car, costs you 42 seconds, and then you have to add refueling to that, which on the P1 machines is typically around 28 to 30 seconds, so that's a big number right there. Minute 10, just bringing the car down pit lane, refueling, that would be the difference to staying out on the racetrack. And just to reinforce the rules here a little bit, we saw a couple of people over the wall, quote, the white line in the Peugeot pit stop. They are allowed to clean that windshield and perform the normal driver assist chores. So one disadvantage you'd have if you have a closed cockpit car and you weren't allowed to clean that windshield, it would cost you a few seconds on a fuel-only stop. So certainly they try and equate everything and equalize everything with the rules there.
Your leader on pit road, Pedro Lamy, comes to the pits. That is at the end or the beginning of his 14th lap. So he's got actually 14 laps in the books. Not surprising with the long yellow that we had. So right now, Lamy to his marks.
The 3 is in, the 1 is in right behind him. It's a very clean pit stop at the moment. Remember, they always plan for the unexpected, so there's always a set of tires out next to both cars. But as you just said, Calvin, these regulations are so tight, and you don't want to go a step down, especially on a bit of a lead. So the instant that fuel nozzle comes off, the driver literally pushes the button and the car starts to move. It's a well-developed launch control system, and there goes the sister car of the number 1. Pretty fluid display so far, isn't it, by Peugeot?
Fluid indeed, and in fact, if you look back a couple of years, Peugeot lost this race on pit road more than once with mistakes that were made, and they have certainly gotten their strategy and everything sorted out. Lamy in a hurry to get to the pits when he came in, working his way as much around the racetrack part of pit in and trying to carry as much speed. The time that you can lose on in and out laps is substantial.
Yeah, but the time you can lose for penalties in the pit lane are huge this year. I mean, they really put a stringent amount of penalty for making any kind of mistake while on that pit lane.
I think there may have been a change of position there. Here we're looking at Lamy, who was the leader prior to the pit stop, and I'm not sure, but I thought I saw a Peugeot with
right
the white mirrors flash through, which would have been Montagny.
Audi on pit road. That'll be the 9, Timo Bernard behind the wheel, Chris.
Yep, and this car stretching the same amount of fuel as that Peugeot number 1 and number 3. Now it looks like they're just going to do fuel on this car too. They did bring slicks out. The Michelin tire engineers took a look at the tires, gave everybody a thumbs up. So Timo launching out of pit lane there. Dorsey, you were talking about the different ways that these drivers get these cars going. Essentially, as soon as they come in, they shut that car down. The driver then is sitting and waiting to hit that starter button and getting it to go again. Now, they do have the clutch that they have to release, and all they need to do is release it nice and easy, and the car just takes off on its own, and that is where the Peugeot guys think the Audi guys are beating them. That little bit of a launch there, up to 37 miles an hour.
It's not just tenths of seconds on the racetrack. It's pit lane that counts as well, and these teams doing all they can to find a way to win one of the world's most prestigious sporting events, the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Pedro Lamy continues to lead in his Peugeot, and the battle is heating up. Well, today on Speed, it's not just about the 24 Hours of Le Mans. We also have the world's toughest trucks as they head to Michigan, where bragging rights are on the line. Because whether you're for Chevy, Ford, Dodge, or Toyota, only one can claim victory. Don't miss the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series live from Michigan today at 1:30 Eastern, only on Speed. Well, the big story of the morning was the problem that Nigel Mansell had out on course earlier. A big crash that brought out the first and only full course caution that we had. Only got video of the tail end of it, but it looks like it was heavy impact back on driver's right.
Yeah, absolutely. We have to believe that the left rear tire went down. He spun back across the racetrack. Here we see the medical crew putting Nigel into the ambulance. We just got to hope that he's okay.
And Jamie Howe, I know you've been down on pit road trying to find the story and find out just how Nigel is doing. What do you have?
Well, Brian, we hear that he is absolutely okay, that here in France you do get a lot of medical attention when there's an incident like that. He is still in the medical center. His wife, Roseanne, both sons, Leo and Greg, have checked in with him. They're in there with him now. They say everything should be fine and he'll be back to pit lane in no time. The car, of course, is settled today.
It's good news to hear that he is doing okay. When you think about some of the things that he has been through in his career, the crashes that he's had right from the get-go when he started racing, he broke his neck. Within a year or so, broke it again. Back injuries from IndyCar crashes, leg injuries and the like. And anytime you get a little bit older, like you are, Dorsey.
Hey. I know what he feels like.
Some of those injuries come back to haunt you when you have a big hit. It's great to hear that he's okay. As you look at the Straka Racing HPD car right now, zipping around the circuit, and those boys have been fast, and they've been experimenting with that Le Mans downforce all season long in LMS.
That's right. They've been running over in the first 2 rounds at Ricard and Spa with the LMS series, and they're running exactly the same configuration of cars, the Highcroft car, but right now this is Johnny Kane who's really scorching his way out in the front of the P2 pack right now, just stretched away from David Brabham since the last caution period, so both cars running very well, currently 1-2, several seconds faster than the rest of the field. So I would think with both of those teams right now, it's just a question of pace and making sure that you're around at the end of 24 hours. Don't stretch the car too hard in the early going.
Watch Danny Watson qualifying in that car, and I tell you what, boy, I mean, you could tell he was going for the pole, no question about it. A little trouble here.
This could be where that bodywork came to rest, possibly.
It looks like he just one of the runoff areas.
But this is the